Hey everybody, Dustin Dales here. I'm back at Omaha Comic Con. It's here in Council Bluffs, actually. It's the Mid-America Center. Make sure you come check it out. There's all sorts of booths you can check out, as well as meeting some pretty cool people, including some legends from Sesame Street. They're here as well. I'm joined by Emilio Delgado, as well as Bob McGrath. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me.
Hey Dustin, good to see you.
Thank you
Nice
for
to
joining
see
me,
you. Nice to see you.
So obviously you guys spent a long time on Sesame Street. You're clearly legends as far as that goes. Do you get a new crop in and they kind of send them to you, teach them the ropes?
Well,
we got a lot of crops.
we got a lot of, yeah. I mean, the show goes through a lot of changes, so our research department kind of keeps the show up to date. So, as you may know, it's gone from a 1 hour to a 30-minute show, and it's for a younger audience now for pre-K. But it's always a great show.
That's right. It changed the audience as well as it changed the channel.
That's right.
So was the audience change? Was that a big change for you guys to interact with?
We didn't feel it
No.
because they were watching the television or their tablets or whatever it was. But our reaction was from the fans, of course. You know, when we meet them live, like in situations like this, where the fans come up and they tell us how much they love the show and how long they've been watching the show. And let me tell you, some of them go back a long ways.
We call them our Sesame Seeds, or second generation.
I mean, they go back 40 years, you name it,
But what is really rewarding for both Emilio and I are the number of people that came by. We just did SuperCon in Florida last weekend, and the number of parents that have children who have special needs and what they learned, even with autism and things of that sort, is very heartwarming. One parent said their kid wasn't able to speak until he was 6, and then they learned to read from the show and made great progress. So that's very rewarding.
We've gotten those stories all along, stories like that, where children all of a sudden come alive, from watching the show and start talking and whatever. It's amazing.
It's almost miraculous, quite frankly. And it's all over the world. We're in about 130 English-speaking countries and about 40 or 50 foreign co-productions. And that's pretty amazing to think about that. In Africa, they have a Muppet called Kami, and she is HIV positive. So she's able to tell kids what they need to know about someone that you don't have to worry about getting AIDS if you're just playing with a child who is HIV positive. So it's quite a mission.
And of course, for a long time now, I think probably in Mexico, they came up with Plaza Sésamo, which is totally in Spanish, right? And it's their version of Sesame Street. And it's an amazing show. It's all over Mexico and South America. So you hear a lot of comments from people from down there that they watch the show. And we've gone all over the world, like Bob says. I mean, I think in Russia they had it at one time, in China.
Yeah, my wife and I were in Paris a number of years ago, and we were talking about the show, and Cookie Monster is called Le Macaron. Instead of cookie, they get macaron.
In French.
Yeah. And so.
Now, Emilio, you started the show back in 1969, is that right?
No, he started in 69.
That's right.
Yeah.
He started in 1969.
I came in 71.
2 years later.
Did you ever think it would last this long?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I read something recently. Joan Gans Cooney, whose brainchild Sesame Street was, it was 2 years worth of solid research before the first show ever went on the air. That's how carefully they put this show together. She even said, when it was ready to go on the air, she said, well, we'll give it a try for a year or two and see how things go. And here we are 45, 46 years later.
Who knew, I mean, when I first got the job, I had no idea that the show existed, but I was an actor working, and when I got the job, I thought, well, I got a job for a couple of years anyway. And then it went on 10 years, 15, 25, 35 years.
And the spin-off has been wonderful. I was a professional singer prior to Sesame Street, and that's worked out well. I've done hundreds and hundreds of family concerts with over 100 symphony orchestras through the years. And so that part's been a spin-off.
You should tell them about your records that you have
Oh,
here.
well.
Come on, Bob.
You got to plug the records.
He's got a bunch of CDs here that go back.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
I should have to hire you for my new manager. No, I started a record company quite a number of years ago called Bob's Kids Records, and I have 8 of them out, and you can find them on my website, bobmcgrath.com, and Facebook and all of those kinds of things. So I hired the very, very best musicians possible, because I wanted kids to hear the best musicians playing all these, all these various music. So in the Christmas album, we've got just Blue Lou from the Blues Brothers Band on reeds, and it's thrilling to work with really great musicians. So I was a music major at Michigan, did my undergrad there, and got a master's at Manhattan School of Music. So I appreciate really good musicians.
Now, how much work goes into doing all these records that you're doing on the side?
Quite a bit. It's a gradual thing. I started 25 years ago, and when you feel there's a need for a different type, I work with early childhood teachers also. It's a group called NACY, National Association Education Young Children. And so that allowed me to do some more things that were specifically good for early childhood teachers. As a matter of fact, I did 2 albums, LPs, many years ago with about 30 songs on each LP. And these teachers said, Bob, we like you, we like your song, but we'd like to have your music without your voice.
Oh, you're kidding, really?
So I said, well, thank you very much.
Why would they say that?
I'll tell you, because they knew the musicians were great. This was a really terrific band up in Toronto, studio musicians, and we recorded all this music. So I went back and listened, and I thought, she's right. So the last album I did about a year ago is called Bob's Favorite Sing-Along, and we have the song and then the music track. Now they can download the tracks, whatever they want, and they can put on a whole program of 30 minutes with, musicians they'd paid $25,000, $30,000 for. And in the car, it's kind of fun. Even my wife and I, we have it, and we skip my singing, and we just sing along with the track. So it worked out very well.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I like that. I'm looking forward to checking that out. I'll definitely pick one of those up while I'm here.
Okay.
Now, one thing I want to ask you about, you've done some work on Netflix as well. How is it compared doing a show on Netflix where they should really shoot everything at once and release it all at once as compared to Sesame Street?
Yeah, no, the stuff, because I'm an actor, I do other stuff besides the Sesame Street show.
You just had a thing I was working on some Shakespeare. He's a real actor.
Yeah,
I'm not an actor, I'm a singer. He's an actor.
I know. So I've been working as an actor for a long time.
And he's a great actor. We've seen
thank you, Bob. Thank
you. Really are. My wife loves you.
She sees my productions. They see all my productions, my best fans.
We never miss one.
So of course it's different because if you do something like House of Cards, it's going to be a little bit different than doing Sesame Street, all those shows that I did when I was working and living in Los Angeles, like Lou Grant and all those shows. Yeah, it was fun doing them all. You learn a lot, and as an actor, it goes on. It goes on.
Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I hope that Omaha Comic-Con treats you very well. How can people keep in touch with you guys?
I'm on Facebook, and my website is bobmcgrath.com, and I've got a lot of fun pictures from the time I was 5 or 6 years old and in the Army, and actually my first tandem parachute jump a year ago with the all veterans parachute team. It's the most exciting thing I ever anticipate doing in my whole life.
I can't believe you did that.
At 10,000
I wouldn't
feet,
do it.
125 miles an hour in free fall.
Man, I'm telling you.
It's great, but they can see us. And
no. So just keep watching for me because I'm out there. Whether it's Law and Order or one of those shows or some movie that comes out, I'm out there.
Well, make sure you keep in touch with them, and make sure you come out to Omaha Comic-Con this weekend. Check out these guys. They've been in TV since before most of us were born, so make sure you come check them out. They're legends in TV, so make sure you come out to Omaha Comic-Con, check them out. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Dustin.
Take it easy, man.
Have a good day. Thank you.